body in charge of the elections.
You come under petition. You don't come under mandamus, because that action has been carried out by the EC. The presiding officers are mandated to carry out those actions, and they did carry out those actions.
We have details as the MPP says it has a strong case and is confident of victory.
The body in charge of the elections says that the elections have not been concluded. They are saying that their officers were threatened, were cajoled.
Ahead, electrical fault and gas leakage cited as the two major leading causes of fire in 2024. We have details as the Ghana National Fire Service reviews a 6.43% increase in fire for the year.
A lot of people use gas in cooking, but they tend not to put in all the safety protocols. You would go and you will find people put heavy objects on the regulators and will not even care to even change the tube.
We'll hear from the Ghana National Fire Service as it says it needs modern fire tenders to deal with the menace.
And in business, industries want more support from government to deal with high unemployment rate in the country.
And later on, get ready to dance all night as the Joy FM's 90s Jam this Friday, January 3 at the Pleasant Gardens in Jolu as we celebrate Ghanaian legends and global hits from the timeless decade. All right, so let's settle for details of all of these stories and more.
Michael Aaron Yao Okwe Jr. polled 50,669 votes, 50669. Akurugu Faustina Elikplim polled 50,967 votes, 50967. By the power invested in me as a return officer, I declare Madam Akurugu Faustina Elikplim as the MP elect for Dom-Kwabenya constituency.
Well, the NDC's Faustina Elikplim Akurugu has been declared Member of Parliament elect for Dom-Kwabenya constituency after the Electoral Commission ended proceedings in that particular area. Now, this brings to an end the decision of the EC to conduct a rerun of voting in one polling station in the constituency to determine who will win that particular constituency. Elikplim Akurugu secured a total vote of 50,967, while Michael Kojo Jr. managed 50,669 out of the 102,158 valid votes cast. Now, the declaration means the NDC has won the seat for the first time since the creation of that constituency, ending the MPP's dominance. My colleague Collins Frimpong was at the EC escorted for us and joins me in studio with more. Collins, what reason did the EC give, the chairperson Jean Mensah provide for the decision, why the EC will no longer conduct a rerun in one of the polling stations?
Right. So the EC on Saturday, December 28th, announced that it was going to conduct a rerun at the Abokobi Women's Development Center 2 polling station, which they had announced that they had invalidated the results because the EC officer there wrote the results on a cleaning sheet. But after investigations, that's about 2 days ago, the EC and the investigative team has resolved that that particular results should be accepted. So that's why they are not doing the rerun of the election at the Abokobi polling center 2 in the Dom-Kwabenya constituency.
And so in the view of the commission and in the interest of fairness, the commission felt that it was proper to rerun the election for that particular polling station to ensure fairness. We have always maintained as a commission that it is not, our interest is not to make anybody a president. And this is something we have said across board to all our officers. Our interest is to conduct credible and transparent elections that are fair, that ensure that the will of the people as expressed at the polls is upheld. And so once none of the parties had any pink sheets to confirm, and they both said no, we agreed at that meeting that we should have a rerun. Since then, we have not rested on our oars, and we've tried to unearth and unravel how we came by. In all of this, as you may be aware, we had reached out to the returning officer and our district officer, but we did not have any explanation for the use of the training sheet. What they had said was the presiding officer realized at the point of filling the form that what she had was a presidential pink sheet, and therefore she used a presidential training sheet. It didn't add up. It was not convincing. And so 2 days ago as a commission, in our investigation, we had the light bulb moment that why don't we really do away with all the party agents at the collation center, because they have not been able to provide us the information we need. Why don't we go to the ground? Rather than deal with collation agents at the collation center, why don't we identify, look out for the agents, the polling agents at the Abukobi Training Center? And so we took steps. We reached out to the parties, and we were able to do that. The PO was out of town. We were able to also reach her and asked her to return back to Accra to answer a few questions. This morning, we met with her, and she explained to us how she arrived at the training. She arrived at using the pink sheet for presidential training with training embossed on it. It's important to note that she did not have this training sheet with her on election day. And it's also important to note that contrary to what is being peddled in the news, though that training sheet was not signed by party agents. The question has been asked that, it's the EC sheet, why are they not using it? Training sheets have no place at the polling station, and that's why we are not using it. It was not a parliamentary pink sheet, polling, even training, it was presidential, and it was not signed by any of the party agents. What she has explained is that, as I mentioned, she recognized that she did not have the parliamentary pink sheet. She had the presidential. And so she tallied everything on paper. She had both agents of the MPP and the NDC confirm the figure, and they agreed to go to the collation center to obtain a copy of the parliamentary pink sheet. Once there, they were informed to go to the district office. On their way there, unfortunately, they were accosted by some thugs who threatened their lives, and in the process, she fled. The good news is that she had this sheet in her bag, but she fled. And she says that the agents also dispersed and they all left. And so none of them had the results. She had it on a sheet. I'm happy to note, however, that the parties, although we did not have a pink sheet for parliamentary signed and completed at that level, each party also had their own tally cards. And on that tally sheets, they have the number of persons who came through. They had all the details, including the results, the total for each political party. And we have received that of the MPP. Although they are not present here, the presiding officer, some days after the election, reached out to the agents, the party agents, and the agent for the MPP sent his copy, and we've seen that we have the evidence and their communication.
So that is the explanation that the EC chairperson gave, why the EC arrived at that particular decision. But we've also been speaking to the MP-elect herself, Electoral Akurugu. What has she been saying?
This is the first time NDC is winning Dom-Kwabenya constituency. So it's huge for them. For her, she thinks that this is the time to save the constituency.
It's hard work. It's hard work and dedication, and of course prayers that led us to this victory. So on this note, I want to thank everybody who came on board. I mean, during the this long hours. In fact, the ESMAS, it didn't go well for me because of the up and down. Today you are being called, tomorrow you are here and you are there. So I just want to thank all those who came on board to support us. And the victory, the voice of the people has finally spoken. And so to God be the glory. Great things he has done and greater things he will do.
What should constituents expect?
Oh, of course. They should expect. Now, the MP-elect, the next thing is to start work. Dom-Kwabenya has always been for the MPP, and this is the first time the NDC has taken that seat. And so it's hard work that will make the people maintain me for long. And so it's all going to be hard work, and the hard work starts today. And so I want to thank the constituents for having that trust in me and then giving me this mandate. And I can promise them that we are going to make sure Dom-Kwabenya becomes a place that everybody will love to be.
Quite an interesting election 2024 has turned out to be, but the NDC has been speaking on this, even though it has gone to them. What has the party been saying?
So Deputy Director of Elections and also IT for the NDC, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, was present at the EC headquarters during the press briefing, and during the time he was speaking to the media, he expressed his excitement about the decision that the EC has taken, and also he spoke about the High Court case, that's the Mandamus application there. He says that he's confident the NDC is going to win the other seats also.
All the forces are going for NDC. We won the seat fairly, clearly. What we are fighting over there at the High Court is all tomorrow that they are going to give a ruling on our objection that we raised, the preliminary objection. And it's very clear. What they did is that they are trying to use a backdoor to get whatever they are looking for. In fact, they are looking to come through a backdoor to have a petition filed. That is the form they are trying to do. And that is why our lawyers raised that objection. You cannot use that method, mandamus, to get that kind of method, because those declarations were made. What is all here is not a real declaration. They're just confirming what they have declared already. Nothing has changed. Okay, DS is different. They want to now come, do another collation, and do another declaration. That is illegal. It's not known to the law. And that is why we've been saying it. It's completely illegal. And I told you, that Burunya thing they went and did, you see that it has stayed in their face. It won't happen. What we know is that those 4 seats, we want them fairly. And I'm very sure tomorrow they will throw them out. That mandamus will not stand. What is mandamus? You want to force a state institution to carry out its mandate, its duty, that it has not carried out. They've carried out the duty. Those returning officers, they are in charge. And they carry out. You, the media, you capture it. You saw the declaration in Okaikwe Central, Tema Central, and Ablikwano. You walked through it. It was captured live on your television station. So why can somebody go to court and say, EC has not done collation, they have not done declaration, so you are forcing them to come and do collation and do declaration? What is that? So we are clear in our mind. Tomorrow, our objection will be upheld by the trial judge, and this mandamus will be dead on arrival, and the 4 MPs will be sworn into office. You see, we have just captured Dom-Kwabenya. Thank God to glory. These people, they wanted to use a backdoor to get it. We've thrown them out. It's level with 4. We'll capture that one too.
Right.
So that was Dr. Rashid Tanko there. He's Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC, speaking at the EC's headquarters today when the EC declared the Dom-Kwabenya seat in favor of the NDC's Electoral Akurugu there. But there's a certain kind of perception about the Electoral Commission in the conduct of this election out there already. What does this new development do to the credibility of the Electoral Commission and the image of the commission itself. We've been joined on the line by Dr. Kwame Asante. He is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. He joins us on the telephone lines now. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us. What do you make of the latest decision the EC has taken in relation to the Dom-Kwabenya seat?
I think all said and done, we have come to the end of the road, and that the parties have also, listened to the statement by Electoral Commission, and upon comparing notes, they realized that that is the decision that ought to come. For me, as a watcher of the democratic space, I think it's fine, because you see, when you lose, you should be a gallant loser, but not a bad loser. So what you do is that you accept defeat and abide by the rules of the game. So from what has played out, I get the gist that it is the party, the stakeholders, the parties that have also worked to resolve this. It's fine. But the caution to EC is that the story Madam Jane Mensah was telling, for me, it tells them that there's more work to do. When they have opportunity to conduct elections, they should make sure that they dot their I's and cross their T's. The officers that they train, they should train them well, so that when they are going to start this work, you check, you have a checklist. You go through all and see that you have this, you don't have this, and all that. You get the basics right before you proceed, because this thing can create all manner of problems, and that affects everybody. But does the new development affect the image of the commission in any way? Oh, obviously, when things, the way things went, I'm not sure it speaks, well of how they've conducted that particular election. But the good news is that at the end of the day, the stakeholders have resolved this issue. That is why stakeholder engagement is always critical. Okay. You don't need to ruffle the feathers, and you don't need to antagonize anybody. Bring everybody on board, so that whenever you take a decision, they are part of the decision making, so that when the decision comes on attack, they can come to your rescue. And that is what we always preach. Dr. Asante, I'm grateful to you for joining us there. Now, away from that, the National Democratic Congress says the NPP has no basis to request an order from the High Court compelling the EC to recollate results in some 4 disputed constituencies. According to the party, the EC has already performed its public duty, and the only option available to the NPP is to file an election petition. It follows the NDC's legal objection in court today, accusing the NPP of addressing an election petition as a mandamus application. The court will decide on the objection tomorrow. A member of our legal affairs desk, Kweku Asante, has the rest of the story.
Gary Nimakon will rise to his feet to move the mandamus application. Eduji Kojo Tameklo shot to his feet with a preliminary legal objection. According to the lawyer for the NDC and its parliamentary candidates, the application seeking to compel the EC to recollate the results was an election petition in disguise. He argued that per section 16 and 20 of the Representation of the People law, the validity of an election can only be questioned through an election petition. But lawyer for the NPP parliamentary candidates, Gary Nimakon, argued that the legal objection was misconceived and that the authorities cited had no bearing on the instant case. He argued that an election petition can only be filed after the results had been gazetted. He insisted the EC had not declared any election in fact, and that the EC has a duty to collate and declare the winners, for which reason they are seeking the mandamus. Lawyer for the Electoral Commission, Justin Amenuvo, posed one question as a submission. He asked, how does the person who has raised the objection expect the court to say whether or not there has been a validly concluded election without going into the affidavits? Justice Fosin Ba Ejapon has set New Year's Day as the day to deliver his ruling on the preliminary legal objection. If the judge decides that the legal objection has merit, the entire mandamus application will be dismissed. But if the judge holds otherwise, it will then proceed to hear the substantive application and make a determination. Kweku Asante for Joy News.
But Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, says the MPP has no case and they are confident the court will rule in the favor of the NDC tomorrow.
Or 284. You come under petition. You don't come under mandamus because that action has been carried out by the EC. The presiding officers are mandated to carry out those actions, and they did carry out those actions. And so if you are not satisfied with the declaration made by the presiding officers, you come with a petition. You don't come with mandamus forcing them to go and do another one. So that's the objection raised. And then when we hear from the trial judge tomorrow, his ruling, we are very much satisfied that they did their job. The job was concluded. If you are not satisfied, you come with a petition to the High Court. You don't come with mandamus.
Well, the MPP, on the other hand, believes it has built a solid legal case and is confident of victory. Alexander Feomakin is majority leader.
The body in charge of the elections says that the elections have not been concluded. They are saying that their officers were threatened, were cajoled to do an illegal act, and the law allows them, the CI allows them to ensure that the right things are done, and that is what they've done. There is no official declaration. It is the Electoral Commission that does declaration of results. It is saying that it has not concluded. What it has concluded is the final collation which declared all our candidates whose matter is in dispute the rightful elected candidates. So that's it.
Alexander Feomakin is majority leader, and time for us to bring you business. And James Chen is in studio with details from the old news from the world of business. Hi, James.
Kojo, coming up in business this evening, industries want more support from government to deal with high unemployment rate in the country, and food and beverage firms worried about high rate of imported raw materials, with which they describe as hurting local industries. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials, Syntex tanks, Pepsodent, charcoal, and herbal. I am James H. Now let's settle for the details, as industries are pushing for more support in 2025 to help deal with the unemployment issues facing the country. These manufacturing firms argued that this might be one of the surest ways to dealing with the jobless growth that the country has been facing in recent times. Greater Accra President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Chonam Akpelu, spoke to Joy Business as part of the Joy Business's 2024 year in review program.
Our proposal is that they should consider the issues around the taxes. We really want the taxes, most of them to be scrapped up. COVID-19 taxes should go. Growth and sustainability levy should go. COVID should go. And then e-levy should go. Like all of these taxes are nuisance taxes. They are affecting us, especially if the coming government is really determined to implement their 24 economy. It would mean that they have to support industry to produce and employ more people. All right. So one of the shorter ways is through the taxes, and we're really looking forward to seeing that they work on that.
Chonam Akpelu as the president of the Greater Accra Association of Ghana Industries. Now to some other stories. Food and beverage firms are raising serious concerns about the high rate of imported raw materials, which is hurting a lot of local firms. General Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana, Sam Agri, argues that some of these items can be produced by small and medium-sized enterprises if they are given the needed support. He spoke to Joy Business at the Africa Center for Economic Transformation Private Sector Development Program.
An area like where we have our fruits, the pineapple, the cashew nut that they talked about, the mangoes. These are areas that we can bring in investors to set up a facility to produce the concentrates and then store them and give it to our beverage industry for them to put them into fruit juices. We need a policy that will give them that direction to ensure that they take at least 60% of what we produce locally and feed it into the fruit juices that we produce. There's no need to import everything.
Sam Agri is the General Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana. Now, finally, the Ghana Association of Banks has admonished President-elect John Dramani Mahama to maintain a tight fiscal regime. Chief Executive Officer John Ewa said strict spending and discipline will be crucial in ensuring stability, which will then guarantee certainty and inspire confidence in the economy.
Obviously, certainty is critical for every business. So fiscal discipline is going to be one key component of the next government activities that, as community of banks, we will be monitoring and will be critically reviewing. You need to stay the course. Of course, there are things that the new incoming government has promised, and as a government, they have to make good the promises that they have made, which means that we need to look at other areas where we can save, areas where there are leakages, supposed leakages that can be blocked. We know that there are a lot of blockades in terms of the financial architecture. You need certainty if you are running a business, if you are running an industry.
And that was John Ewa, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Association of Banks. And that's the end of the business news on Newsnight with me, James Eshen. Over to you, Kojo.
James, thank you very much. Now, the Ghana National Fire Service has identified gas leakage as a second leading cause of fires in 2024, with while electrical fault maintains its number one spot as leading cause of fire. Now, the country also experienced a 6.43% increase in fires between January and November, with 5,596 fire incidents. In an interview with Joe News, the head of public relations at the Ghana National Fire Service, Desmond Aka, mentioned electrical faults as the leading cause of fires, with gas leakage as a second. Listen to him.
If you look at the figures that we have done well over 30% of these fires emanating from our domestic setting. Okay. Meaning that there are a lot of things that we are doing in our homes and residential apartments that is not really helping us to be able to keep the fires at bay. And the most common causative factor is electrical fault. Electrical fault is very broad, stemming from egg faults, stemming from overrated cables, stemming from short circuits, arcing, and a whole lot of faults that come up from these electrical appliances and circuitry. And therefore, it behoves on us to always ensure that we engage competent, certified electrical engineers and then contractors to be able to do the electrical works for us in order to stem out these electrical fires from our domestic setting. And the next leading cause of fire is gas leakages. A lot of people use gas in cooking, but they tend not to put in all the safety protocols. You will go and you will find people put heavy objects on the regulators and will not even care to even change the tube that connects the stove or the burner to the cylinder. And these are the sources of the gas leakages. And that is even maiming people, causing a lot of people to get injured through these burns.
Well, he says there is an urgent need for modern fire tenders and advanced equipment to enhance the service's emergency response capabilities.
We are trying as much as possible to bring back our old engines. Quite recently, you put out a news out there that over 50% of our engines were down. Right. And management did not sit down. Now we can count over 85% of our appliances now in commission and they are working. And we must be able to say emphatically that these tenders are old and every now and then they break down, even as much as we try to put them back on the road. So we are still in wait for what government promised us to equip us, give us modern fire tenders and other equipment to help us to be able to serve the good people of Ghana. But notwithstanding, we have intensified our efforts, and we believe that with the intensified effort, management also put in measures to ensure that we position some of our fire engines strategically to be able to deal with it. So right from January to date, we have done incredibly well in terms of responding to fires. We have done over 100 fires. Even 100 is an understatement. We have done well in terms of our response time. We have responded to more incidences within 5 minutes.
You are the head of public relations for the Ghana National Fire Service, Desmond Aka. Now, Parliamentary Select Committee on Works and Housing has served notice of hauling the Ghana Police Service before Parliament over their failure to provide security at the Sagam affordable housing project site, leading to theft of project materials and significant damage to property. The project, which has stalled for the past 8 years, has most of its construction materials and accessories stolen. The committee, after touring the project site, said the police failed to live up to their obligations to protect the facility and must answer questions to that effect. Prince Kwame Kodoga was with the committee and has more in this report.
The committee's visit to the Sagam housing project site was to see at first hand the level of damage following last Tuesday's inferno that burnt 2 containers serving as storage facilities for hardware meant for the completion of the project, which has stalled for close to 8 years now. Committee Chairman Vincent Opong Asamoah expressed concern about the current state of the project.
The question we keep on asking ourselves, if we had used our own money, pocket money to procure this, would they allow it to go waste the way we have done it? You know, we have spent over $200 million to procure all these items, apart from the structures we see here. The materials too, also a cost to the government. So if we are leaving it the way we have left it for 10 years, and most of the materials we cannot do anything with it. And that is what we have done to ourselves as a country.
Oforikrom MP Dr. Iman Omafo and Member of Parliament Select Committee on Works and Housing says provisions must be made to ensure continuity of projects even during changes in government.
We need to, as part of the arrangements for presidential transition, we need to maybe amend that and include such a component on projects. Because this is a $200 million project. That's a lot of money.
He also assured the committee, as part of its oversight responsibilities, will invite the Ghana Police Service to answer questions regarding lapses in security management at the Sagam housing project site.
Once there is an arrangement that the Ghana Police Service was contracted to provide security, and as you can see from here, there's no evidence that there's even as we came here, we've been here for almost 1 hour. There's no security around. So it tells you that there's a security failure. And therefore, whoever was contracted to provide security definitely will need to have an answer. As a committee of parliament, it is our responsibility to provide oversight. And therefore, we have every powers to be able to call the Ghana Police Service and the Ministry of Works and Housing.
The project has been given to a private developer and construction is expected to resume anytime soon. Prince Kwame Kodoga's report for Joy News.
Now, away from that, let's go to the camp of the president-elect because he has expressed optimism that his proposed National Education Review Conference will address challenges at all levels of the educational sector. Speaking when the management of the University of Ghana paid a courtesy call on him, he said an organizing committee will be formed comprising educational experts to put together the conference, which will bring all stakeholders together. The final report validated before implementation will begin.
In our educational system. And that's why I suggested that we should hold a National Education Review Conference and look at what all the bottlenecks are. The interpretation was giving that I wanted to abolish free SHS, and that's why I was calling for that meeting. But it is to look at the whole, we've done it before, and indeed it was one such educational dialogue that brought about the GET Fund when Samuel Kojo Brace was Minister of Education, and that is what brought a 2.5% VAT to finance solely education. And so I believe that there are nuggets of wisdom that will come out in a stakeholder consultation like this, where we have the parents, we have the educationists, experts, we have the students, we have the teachers, and everybody who is a stakeholder participating, so that we can look at basic education, we can look at secondary education, we can look at tertiary education, and take some decisions that will create the kind of reforms that give the students a quality learning experience at any stage of the education chain in which they are. And so we look forward to working with you on it. I think that we're going to form an organizing committee that would include people from tertiary, educational experts and others to put this whole review conference together. I'm sure there will be breakout groups that will specialize on various issues, and then we'll synthesize a final report, and once we validate it, it will be available to start implementing. And so we're looking forward to that. As I've consistently said, the free SHS has come to stay, and we're not going to cancel it.
President-elect John Dramani Mahama. Now, away from that, some economists are predicting tough times for the incoming John Mahama administration, as they say he will be inheriting a fragile economy. Speaking on PM Express on the Joy News channel, economist and political risk analyst Theo Achampon said the scrapping of the e-levy and the COVID-19 levy, which the NDC promised to abolish, will have minimal impact on the economy. He, however, expressed opposition to the scrapping of the betting tax. Now, President-elect John Mahama some weeks ago refuted claims made by Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam and the outgoing president that the new Patriotic Party administration is leaving behind a resilient and recovering economy. He described these assertions as a gross misrepresentation of the true state of Ghana's financial standing.
The economy, as we all know, is going through a very difficult patch the last 2 years, stabilization or relative stabilization, but we're still not, out of the woods in terms of how this transmits to the micro level to improve people's, well-being, the everyday man on the street. And that's the context in which John Mahama is coming right into government. We saw the incumbent lose quite heavily in the just ended election off the back of these economic challenges. It's going to be very tough for the government, particularly, with what they are taking over. However, when you actually look at some of the things that they said they're going to do, especially on the tax cuts, the betting tax, personally, I'm against its scrapping on the basis that these are more like corrective, sin taxes. Again, on the e-levy, the emissions levy, when you actually look at the data, currently people pay 10 pesos for every liter of petrol or diesel that you buy under the sanitation and pollution levy. Yeah. And so if the e-levy is to even stay, then we have to scrap the sanitation and pollution levy, because that would amount to double taxation. But you work the numbers, however you slice and dice it, and I personally think that at least for those two tax items, the e-levy and the COVID-19 levy, they could actually go with very minimal impact on the public finances.
Dr. Theo Achampon is an economist and a political risk analyst. Now, get ready to enjoy the best of 90s music and culture at the Joy FM's 90s Jam. This exciting event will take place on Friday, January 3 at the Pleasant Gardens in Jolu, Accra. Now, you remember those days when we used to listen to all those beautiful songs. Get back up and let's listen to some of them on Friday. It starts at 6 p.m. and we'll keep going all night long. Come and dance to unforgettable hits from Ghanaian stars like Reggie Rockstone, the Achame, Daddy Lumba, Kojo, Sonny Bali. You remember Tic Tac, right? And many others. Our DJs will also play some of the biggest songs from international legends like Tupac Shakur, Naughty by Nature, and Notorious B.I.G. and more. You cannot listen to except of the fun at the 90 Jam from 9 years ago with DJ Black behind what we call the turntables. You know what? Let's have a feel of how it happened some days ago. Music right after these commercial breaks. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Thanks for being a part of today.
My man, I heard there's a new app on the streets that does it all for you.
Really? How's that possible?
Charlie, I also could not believe it too, but I downloaded the app and I'm telling you, I was able to chat with my friends, make video calls, and
well, we know of many apps that can do that.
Oh, let me finish, la. I was also able to listen to the latest songs, play games, and